Welcome everyone to The Wire. What are we doing here? Oh, we're coming together to talk about all things to do with getting ready for our Service Excellence accreditation and any ways that we can be helpful for each other, sharing our ideas, sharing our pain, sharing our gains, all of that we can do on The Wire. And I want to introduce you this afternoon to some of the high wire assessors that this is the only place you might get to meet them is on The Wire. So give us a wave, Lisa. Give us a wave, Kay. Give us a wave, Bron. And give us a wave, Marie. That's the team that's joining you here on The Wire today. That's about, it's about half of our team, I think, on The Wire. It's lovely to see you, Leanne. Some people I've only been chatting to on the phone. This is the first time that we're getting to get some, electronic FaceTime at least. And thank you, Anisha, for joining us as well. Oh, look, as people come, we will just welcome them. Oh, there's another Marie in the room. Watch out. Marie to the power of 2. It could be amazing. Before we go any further, let's please acknowledge the traditional custodians of First Nations peoples of the lands that we are on and celebrate the diversity of Aboriginal culture across New South Wales. Let's acknowledge elders past, present, emerging for the important role that they play. And let's, if you would like to, just type into the chat the name of the traditional custodians of the land that you're on and the town or suburb that you're in. If you've got the name of your organisation on your screen, that's amazing. If you want to let people in the room know the name of your organisation, that would be really cool, because I do know, I want to say Shoalhaven Women's Resource Group, SWRG. I may be guessing, but I think that's it. And Leanne, I know, is here from, I'm going to probably say it wrong. Is it Birrabee? Oh, Birrabee Housing, which is the beautiful name for the Aboriginal Land Council New South Wales housing arm, which is very exciting.
That's good.
And I know that Lana is joining us. Bronwyn and Lana Snap both joining us from South Australia. Is anybody else joining us from South Australia? South Australia. Now, Lana is in Whyalla. If you've ever been to Whyalla, you would know there's some beautiful water around there. Cuttlefish. It's a place for cuttlefish, isn't it? And other things, including Lana and her organisation called Nunyara. And Danella's here from over the range from me. What is the town that Danella might be joining us from? It's over the range from me. I'm on Biripi country here in Port Macquarie, and Danella is over the mountains in Tamworth. Yes. Thank you very much, everybody, for being. Now, Nisha. Oh, I need to have a look in the chat. Where's Nisha joining us from? I wonder have a little look.
In from Camden area.
Thank you very much. From the women's shelter there.
Correct.
Ah, fantastic. Thank you for joining us today. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, Blue Wren House. I like the sound of that. Oh, just get an image of a blue wren now, everybody. Isn't that beautiful? Very, very nice. All right. Thank you, everybody, so very much. Lana's joining us from the Gold Coast. Come on, Lana. You're working virtually and remotely that far away. That's amazing, isn't it?
I am, yes.
So enabled. She can be on the Gold Coast getting ready to go for a surf after this, maybe. That's what I'm imagining anyway. All right. Today, it is all about a healthy workplace and whether you've got one or not. And what could you do to strengthen the sorts of things that are going into your lovely, healthy workplace? Because there's a big focus on this at the moment. In fact, last week on Tuesday, there was a big national forum and about 100 organisations attended. And of those 100 organisations, guess how many of them were going through service excellence? 100% of them. So it was all about service excellence, providing a healthy workplace, and it was so well attended, and yours truly got to speak there about the assessor view. So it's in my top drawer, and I'm hoping to put it into your top drawer as well, because those of you who are preparing for service excellence right now, you will know that you are working to version 9. Now, I'm not going to freak you out. If you've been preparing since before July 1, it's okay. You can stay with version 8. If you have been preparing during that period in the BNG portal, which is that groovy place where you sort of do your self-assessment and upload all your evidence, this is what's happened that's funny for lots of organisations. They might have gotten to 100%, you know, with their self-assessment, and then it dropped back to 97%. And people went, what? And that is because they popped the new indicators in there. And it meant that you had to go in there and you had to then respond to the new indicators, right? So that's what happened to you. But don't worry. Having said that, the transition is only up to December this year. So if you're being assessed from January 1, 2023, we'll have to assess you against version 9. Okay, so that's why we're here to talk about this whole focus on the healthy workplace, because we want you to be successful. And we know that there's lots of great practice out there around this, so we're here to share. So get ready to share any ideas that you have. Okay, I'm going to share my screen here, and we're going to start off with a little game of categories. And I'm going to ask you to type into the chat your answers to these questions. You ready, everyone? We're leaning forward. Put that Sambo down, put that pie down, lean forward. Here we go. Something you can do at work to relax or manage your stress. Off you go. What do you do? Let's see what we can get in the chat from this. At work. Thanks, Sally Ann. There we go. We've got lots of people going for a break.
Do you have any other household members?
Nisha, what kind of music do you like to listen to at work, Nisha?
It's usually dance pumping music in my headphones.
That is great. Yeah, pump away. Good stuff. Thanks, everyone. Right, next one. If you've got yourself, if you could mute yourself, that's nice, unless you've got something to say to me. This one says, something your workplace does to promote healthy eating choices. Is there anything happening there about healthy eating choices? What does your workplace do about that? Anything? Or if you work from home, what do you do about trying to stay healthy and make healthy eating choices? I was at a service yesterday and they did have the fruit on the table. And they did have water in you know, really one of those water cooler things. Model healthy eating. How's that going for you, Danella?
Very well.
That's good. That's good. Lots of fruit and water. Even things like...
It's contagious, Marie.
I believe so.
It is.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's it sort of has people, it motivates people, doesn't it, when other people around them are eating healthy food.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful. Even things there like having something, a place where food can be prepared. Yesterday, this organisation, they had just bought a new little freezer because the fridge that they had didn't have a freezer. So they bought a little freezer so people can bring in their food that they've prepared ahead, and or they, you know, their, what do you call them, the super bowls, the freezer healthy Weight Watchy things, those. What about something helpful in the transition from work to home? What do you do in the transition from work to home? I'm guessing Nisha's got that music pumped up, but what things do people like to do in that transition from work to home? How do you park the sort of stress or trauma of the day? Nice one, Lisa. Lisa, give us an idea of your favourite podcast or something we could look at that. Mark's in there as well with his true crime podcast.
I don't mind a bit of true crime, but I like Mamma Mia out loud. That's always fun to listen to Mia Friedman.
Very good. Thank you for that tip. Put a hard stop. Now, Danella, you'll have to explain. Please explain. Put a hard stop.
So when I arrive at work, I don't automatically just get out of the car and turn it off and then walk into work, regardless of whether I'm a 5 minute late or early, whatever the situation. What I do is just sit there and let everything go before I get out of the car, before I get to work. Everything that was bothering me at home is hard stop. I do the same when I get home from work.
That is great. It's kind of like a check in and check out, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's a physical thing that you do with your body to signal that transition.
Absolutely.
Lovely stuff. And look at what Marie's doing there, talking. If others are not coping, increase the supervision. Keeping an eye on the team, sort of seeing if people are in a good state even to be driving home. You know, like sometimes people need a bit of debrief, don't they, Marie, before they get in the car and go home. Yeah. Worth thinking about in the way that you approach your sort of healthy workplace framework or system. What's this next one here? Personal professional boundary that you try to maintain. I put try to maintain there because I know people have got boundaries and it can get quite like fluid and rubbery. But what's a professional boundary that you try to maintain, or a personal boundary? How do you keep yourself and your sort of sacred zone a bit sort of safe there? Nice one. Yeah. Talk to others. Leave work on time. Yeah, that's a really good standard to set yourself, isn't it? And that's certainly for a role model. Nice one, Kay. So I can send them, but you don't look at them. That's good. I sometimes use my emails like a notepad. I just type things as I'm thinking of them, and it's not good if there's people sort of receiving or responding at all hours, is it? Keep work at home, keep work at work. It's harder, isn't it, with people working at home these days? That's good, Kay. I'm glad to hear you don't answer anyway. That's what we want. So those personal and professional boundaries are pretty important, aren't they? And particularly to help your teams maintain their personal and professional boundaries, wherever that boundary is for people. Oh, yeah, Mark. I think we understand that, Mark. You know, it is challenging in a what small town are you in, Mark? What small town is Mark in? Does anyone remember from the opening sharing? Oh, yeah, Mudgee, that is a small town. Very friendly town. So people, yes, they probably do want to know what you're up to in that town. Yeah, that can be hard. We're going to have your social life away from Mudgee. Where are you going to have your social life then? Maybe Golgong or somewhere like that. Beautiful place, Golgong. All right, we're having some fun here. What's a common cause of workplace stress that you have identified? Apart from not having a full complement of staff, which is a very common stress these days. What have you identified as a common stress? A common cause of workplace stress? Have we got, yeah, definitely workload. Is there anything else that's contributing? Yeah, complex clients, caseloads, lack of communication about priorities. Yeah, definitely. That can be a biggie. Just people not getting the information they need to be able to make decisions and set their own goals can be a great source of stress for people, particularly those that are concerned about certainty in the workplace. Sally-Ann, fast-paced change. There's a lot of change, isn't there, happening in our sector. This sort of regulatory change, one of them. You know, everybody got to be service excellence accredited. Yeah, and I've got a few more questions there, but I think we'll kick on. I really appreciate you. Really appreciate you, Mark. I really appreciate everybody having a little go at that. But I think take something like this into the team and start talking about, having a conversation about a healthy workplace and the sorts of little things that can make a big difference. Something you do to promote harmony in your team, for example, that last one. Is that the last one? Let's see. No, there's the last one. A rule that you've set yourself to maintain a healthy work-life balance. And again, I see that as a professional sort of a boundary, but that's a conversation you could be having with people. Oh, one thing your workplace is doing exceptionally well to ensure a healthy workplace. Let's think on that one. What is one thing your workplace is doing exceptionally well to ensure a healthy workplace? What do you think your organisation does really well? There's a lot of laughing going on there at Bernardo's in Mudgee. Fantastic. In our team, we try to share the work around a bit. We're pretty good at sharing and asking for help in our team. Okay, there's another crazy cat lady there. She's got her cats at work. And I hope the cats are doing exceptionally well also. One thing your workplace is doing exceptionally well to ensure a healthy workplace. We've got lots of animals are good therapy, aren't they? All right, hold those amazing thoughts. Let's kick on. Why the new standard? Why is there a focus on this at the moment in our sector? Well, for a few reasons, because we're adapting to changes in the workplace. And I could probably ask you, but the changes that you've seen in the workplace and in the ways of working. So in the changes in the workplace, there is a lot more risk. So if we think about changes in our workplace of, working with the acute end of mental health, looking at people working from home, and so with less direct supervision, there's a bit more risk there. Trying to keep people healthy in the workplace around with the pandemic as still a force. So those kinds of things. So there's more risk in the workplace than there has been. The demographic in the workplace has shifted. Now, what have we got in the workplace now? We have, for example, we have got an older workforce, haven't we? And we've also got, a younger workforce. In fact, I think we've got like 4, maybe 5 generations of people working in the workforce at the moment. So the demographic of our workforce brings with it a lot of risk. We've also got, because of our particular workforce challenges, I'm going to say in the health and community services sector, we have got people who might be working in our sector who have come from other sectors and might not have an experience or much work experience working with trauma or, working with high and complex needs. So, we have a different demographic of our workforce at the moment. So that's a reason why I focus, particularly through work health and safety, on providing a healthy workplace. Some of the stats there, I've pulled those from South Australia, but I'm pretty sure they potentially be mirrored in other states. But I'm not picking on South Australia. It's just that I found that nice graphic there. And there's a lot of interest and demand. There's a workforce there that's saying, hey, when I come to work, I don't just want you to protect me from slips, trips and falls. I want you to be concerned with my well-being. I want a workplace that looks after my mental health, doesn't trigger my mental health, doesn't, it provides me with the proper support and debriefing and opportunities for self-care, such as flexibility. So there's a workforce that's asking for that. So this is how Service Excellence, anyway, is responding, is to provide some emphasis in the framework around providing a healthy workplace. There was always a healthy workplace standard there, and indicator there, sorry, within the work health and safety standard. But now it's got a lot more, what am I going to say? It's got a lot more rigor through it. There's some very specific things that we need to be looking for as assessors. And there's also a new indicator about infection control. Yeah, so we'll kick on and have a little bit more of a look at that. I found this nice descriptor of a healthy workplace. You can just have a little read of that and ask yourself, is that what's happening in our workplace? And I like that little bit there that says based on identified needs. So I do want to say that when you're thinking about your healthy workplace, I do want to just remind us that it is subjective. You know, healthy is subjective. You know, what I deem to be a healthy workplace for me might be very different from somebody else. So when it says based on identified needs, it sort of implies that you'd be doing some research in the team, some needs analysis in the team, some polling or surveying of the team to ask, you know, where do we think the baseline is at the moment to try to understand that, but what sorts of strategies would people like to see, or would they get behind? There's lots of workplaces just pull out the old, right, here you go, we got you a 10% discount on the gym membership. And, you know, that's personally, that wouldn't be something I'd take up. You know, so everybody's it's quite subjective, healthy, and therefore the responses need to really be tailored, I think, or flexible. That's what I'm saying. So based on identified need, so it implies doing a bit of research. Yeah, I'm happy to have comments anytime. Examples of what people are doing around this would be super helpful. So shout out, interrupt me at any time. I want to say hello to Jill there too. Hello, Jill. Now the new standard, all right, so it's C 4.2.5. If you're having a look in the evidence guide, would you like me to give you the evidence guide? Shall I do that? Shall I pop it in the chat for you? If you haven't got the version 9 evidence guide, here it comes. Hot off the press. Where did I put it now? Oh yeah, there it is. And we can have a little look at this together. Where did I put it? Oh, just had a little brain fade then. 1 second, I know where it is. There it is. Disappeared. Oh no. There it is. Oh my goodness. Oh, I just do feel exhaustion of 50 clicks there just to make that happen. There we go. Click on, you only have to click on that once to make that happen for yourself. There we go. Click on that and download it, save it, and then you can have a look at it later on. But we're going to go down. That's a good question from Kay. All shall be revealed, Kay. So if you're having a look at the evidence guide, you'll go down to 4.2.5 and you'll see that the new standard, so version 9, there's only 2 changes. These are the 2 changes in version 9. You will see a new standard, C 4.2.5. It says a system of infection control and prevention is in place. All right, so a system, it's more than just a document, isn't it? A system says to us as assessors that you will have it documented. It says that you will have everything that's written down happening in practice. Yesterday I went to an organisation to do a site visit as part of their assessment, and I do know what their infection control policy says. And when I came to the organisation, I was expecting that they would take me through a whole set of steps around COVID. No, they took me straight down the back and fed me morning tea, which was lovely, but I thought, that's not really what's documented. So I'm a special person who looks like I would never be sort of a carrier, obviously, but a system says it's written down, it happens in practice. There's ways of communicating all of the things that you do about infection control to all the people who need to know. There's all the things that need to happen are delegated to someone. Okay, so if it's the person who's on reception's job to take my temperature or make sure I sign in, that'll be written down too. And you evaluate it. You're looking to see if there's any data that will tell you whether or not your system for infection control is controlling infection. So you might have some stats. You might have some evidence of whether it's working well or not. Okay, so it requires, and you're having a look at the evidence guide now. There's not a lot of ideas in there, but we're going to list some ideas in a minute. So get thinking caps on around what do you do to control infection in your workplace. But it says here a formal infection control program is planned and systematic in its approach. So it's more than a poster. It's more than hand sanitizer. It's more than a policy. Okay, but this is where the business is here. It's with this one here. So 4.2.6 is the very next indicator down the list there for you. This is quite explicit now, whereas before it used to say provide a healthy workplace. Now it says the organisation demonstrates a commitment to providing a healthy workplace that protects and promotes staff health and well-being. So it sits within the work health and safety standard, and there are 5 parts to this that we will be looking for as assessors. So we won't be able to give you a fully in place rating unless we see these 5 things. And it matters not the size of your organisation. I really feel like this requirement can be met by a very, very small organisation and a very, right up to a very, very large organisation. The approaches will be different. Yeah, the sort of scale of it will be different, but each of these elements I think can be met. I'll be happy to be challenged on that. So we're going to go through the evidence that we need now. I quite like this model here. If you're trying to visualize it, as a model or a framework, I found this one. This is quite a good one. I probably have referenced it in our resources. So look at this. This one says there'd be sort of 3 domains of where health might sit. So we've got healthy places, so that physical environment. A healthy vision, that might mean that commitment. and healthy people. So a way of being able to evaluate the impact of your healthy workplace on the people. So, you know, how many people are smoking in your workplace? How many people have committed to different sorts of health activities or events, those sorts of things, yeah? How many people ride to work, walk to work, those kinds of things could be baseline. So step 1, get started with leadership support. Step 2, identify the needs. Step 3, tailor your action to those needs. And step 4, monitor and review. Always, always, always thinking about how we can see how we're doing and can we do better. Yeah. I'll find out where that little model came from so you can use it if you want to. All right, let's list some evidence for infection control. Let's get on the whiteboard here. If people know how to annotate on the screen, you can, shall I tell you how to annotate on the screen? All right, some people know how and can get started now. Sorts of evidence that we might see if you have a systematic and programmed approach to infection control. Okay, annotate. Push your cursor to the top of your screen and you'll see a tab that says you are sharing Highwire's screen. Next to that, there's a view options tab, and in the view options tab, there's an option that says annotate. And when you click on that, it brings you up a drawing toolbar and you can draw on the screen like that. You can have a bit of fun. And you can use your text option to write. See how you go. Anybody want to have a go at that? If you can't find it, look around your webinar toolbar. Thank you, 777. Sounds like a secret agent, 777. I'm not quite sure who you are, but if you tell me your name, I can I can change it on the screen. But thank you for that little flower. What sorts of things would we see if you, that's right, Kay. Choose the text option if you like, and you'll be able to type some words there. Thank you very much, Lana. Yes, you will have a COVID check-in protocol that is implemented. So that means it happens when we come. That's right. What else? What else? You can type in the chat if you're not sure how this annotate works, but have some fun. You can just practice your smiley faces if you like. You don't have to. Sally Ann says, high touch point cleaning schedule. Thank you, Sally Ann. Exactly. Where are those high touch points in your organisation that you've thought about? It's interesting, isn't it? Thank you very much. We will see some signage around the workplace. Oh, thanks. Yeah. Bathrooms especially, yes. Infection control. Now, Lana works in, sometimes when she's not on the Gold Coast, she works in an Aboriginal medical service. So it's an Aboriginal GP clinic. So they are going to have a well-documented policy and practice around infection control. I know lots of places have removed the toys from the waiting area because little hands and, you know, mouths and noses and nappies and all those sorts of things and toys, I don't know that it's a very good combination. So I know a lot of toys have been removed, or in the refuge I was in yesterday, they have a cleaning roster and the cleaner actually cleans the toys, but they have less toys and they have different types of toys. Yeah, I focus on some smaller sub-programs as well as the main activity. That's good. Yeah, so all the rooms get a bit of attention. We will see, obviously we will see the hand sanitizer, and we will see access to hand washing facilities, quite easy access to hand washing facilities. And as an assessor, I'm taking a closer look at things like nappy change options when I come to your workplace. If you are welcome parents and babies or children wearing nappies, that should be happening near where there is a tap. And near that tap should be some soap or some, you know, hand sanitizer and some things to wipe your hands on. That's not a towel that looks like it's been there for a month. Oh, I'm getting fussy now. I'm getting fussy. You know what I mean, okay? So these things do make a difference. These things will make a difference. And thank you, everyone, for putting your ideas on the board. From my assessors, anything else you'd like to focus on infection control wise?
One of the protocols that's been introduced in other standards is that everybody has to have done some sort of the online module for either, you know, hand hygiene or that Aspen medical infection control module, that's a requirement.
Great.
So, yeah, or a COVID response plan. What happens when somebody gets there?
Great. Great. And what are your rules around if someone contracts COVID? What are your rules around them being in the workplace? And if it's a refuge, it's particularly hard. If it's a client in a refuge, for example, or it's somebody who needs an essential service, such as a medical service. So having that documented about how you protect people. Some Aboriginal medical services I've been to, they have a separate entrance. So a totally different patient flow for people who have a symptom. Yeah, so these sorts of, that's infection control, like, you know, plus, but it's important in that setting. Yeah, so we're going to go, thank you for that. Any other ideas? Any other things or questions about infection control? Good. All right, we're going to go through some of the types of evidence that we might be looking for with regard to those healthy workplace requirements. Here we go. So you might remember that there are 5 elements to this healthy workplace indicator that we are needing you to show that you meet. The first is leadership commitment. And here are some ideas here about the sorts of things that we might see as evidence. The commitment is communicated by the leadership. So, you know, it appeared in some minutes, or it appears as a commitment statement. Yeah, it is something that the board determined that they're going to invest in, and they've communicated that either through minutes or through a policy or some sort of allocation in the budget, for example. All right, leaders are role modelling. There's delegations, wellbeing is on the agenda, these sorts of things. That's interesting, isn't it? The promotion on the website, for example, Why Work For Us. There's a lot of organisations are putting, you know, their commitment to health and wellbeing in the workplace as an employer of choice characteristic. You know, that's something that we might see. The next one here is policies and procedures. All right, so this is the next element that we're looking for here. So there's lots of policies and procedures that you will have that support a healthy workplace. And lots of those will be found in your work health and safety suite of policies and procedures. But here are some examples. And the first thing we would look for is, do you have a health and wellbeing policy? You know, some organisations have a self-care policy. They have a staff support and staff support policy, you know, the sorts of things that they do to support staff. So it might be named different things, but that's the first sort of thing we look for. Is it explicit? You know, instead of, well, you know, it's implied, but is it explicit? That's really the shift from version 8 to version 9. So you could tick off the ones that you have there. Healthy catering rules. I remember seeing a real sort of, you know, a real emphasis on that for a while. I don't know, maybe pre-COVID, I was seeing a lot of emphasis on the healthy eating code. And now it's more of an emphasis on infection control. So you'll have some of those sorts of documents. This one is about the actual programs and activities and support. So the sorts of things that you do. So the first one's about leadership commitment. The second one's about policies, procedures. This is about what sort of things do you do. And if the assessors have got any examples of things that they've seen, that would be great to share now. But I've put there, it's ad hoc versus planned or programmed, okay? It's ad hoc. Yeah, I know, you know, people can always tell me, oh, this happened last year, and I remember a few years ago we got this and that, and once we had a massage afternoon. It's really much more about having it part of the program, part of the offering, you know? If there's anything that your organisation does do around this, it would be great to hear. Mark, I'm loving
I
your-
think the best ones that we've seen have been the organization that got 100% actually, that had a budget that every person was allocated that they could spend on health and well-being every quarter. And they had to make an application for it. So it wasn't just, here's your money. But that CEO, I can remember that CEO saying that she checks to make sure that people are actually taking that time to do that. And that was quarterly. The other one that I think probably I've offered suggestion is they had access to clinical supervision instead of regular and systematic clinical supervision. So, somebody had to apply for it rather than actually being calendared.
Yeah, that's a great one. And when we ask this question, we always ask this question in our staff interview. What does this workplace do to provide a healthy workplace for you? And they often say supervision and debriefing and open door policy, so this idea that when they're feeling troubled or uncertain or stressed or shaky, they have someone they go to and talk about that. So that's challenged now with people working from home. It's not just, I'll walk down the hallway and there's my manager sort of thing, but making sure that even making sure that where people are working from home, that they still have that kind of access to support and connection in the team. Yeah, because there's a lot of sort of I'm going to call it, that sort of support that people get from their colleagues just by being in the same space with them. Organic, maybe I'm going to call it organic type of support. Yeah. If there are sorts of things that staff could take advantage of, such as if there are free services, or if you do know about things in the local area that people could take advantage of. I know that there's lots of services we've worked with that have a gym and for the clients, and the staff are just able to use it. So those sorts of things. Induction, making sure that your induction has a real emphasis on the sorts of things that the staff member can access for things like self-care or, even flexibility and work-life balance support, that sort of thing. Something in the chat there. Is it about chocolate, Mark? No. I'd like to see some review of self-care activities undertaken as part of regular performance review. Ah, very good. You could make health and well-being and self-care part of the supervision structure. That's a great one. Okay, thank you. Part of the check-in, the one-on-ones or whatever supervision you have, reflective practice, however you put a question in there that prompts the staff member to talk about how they might be managing their workload or the stress around the workload or the isolation from working from home. All those sorts of things can come up there. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. What did I see above Kay's comment there? Let me just have a little look.
Can I just say something about that? Is that people often tell me that they do that, but there's no evidence of it. And the whole process of assessment is evidence-based. So I think Kay's suggestion is a very good one.
Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, I actually think it should be
it's kind of puts, like, it makes the responsibility joint, you know, if it's actually an item that's discussed, and it's, so what have you done, but it's also what's the organisation provided. So it kind of cuts both ways. So, you know, if your evidence then shows that it's all on the employee to find those sort of self-care activities, it suggests that the organisation's not providing anything systematic.
Yeah.
Or if they're providing something systematically and the employees are not attending it, then it kind of raises that as a question, like why are you not doing
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. It's a partnership, I suppose, that we're looking for. And this is interesting. When I was preparing for the national forum, I was meeting with some other assessors from other organisations. So, you know, some other assessing bodies like Highwire. And there was a very interesting debate there about being careful to tread the line of not becoming a mental health provider as a workplace. And I'm sharing it with you because it was fascinating to me that some organisations feel concerned about that line. Like how much support is too much, how much care and concern and questioning is intrusive. If a person is demonstrating maybe some challenges with their mental health, what do? Do we step in? Like, do we provide the support ourselves? Or, you know, if we can, like, let's say that's something that your organisation provides, counselling, for example. Is that something that you can provide that staff member? Like that personal professional boundary stuff, it was fascinating to me. So that's something to wrestle with a little bit in your organisation, you know, to have that conversation about what's the right level of support for issues like mental health in the workplace, you know? Yeah, we don't want to, certainly, you know, we don't want people to feel like they're out of their depth, or, you know, that they can't refer out or they can't make suggestions, you know, and that can be fraught anyway because it's very personal. So good luck with that. If you're a leader of an organisation, good luck with having that kind of conversation if it comes up. But that'll be a good space to get some advice, you know, if it comes up like that. Because you do have some very strict obligations as a PCBU under the Work Health and Safety Act to look after people. But I don't know actually where the line is. Okay, so that's some advice that you can get. Almost there. The next part of this, so I've talked about leadership, policies and procedures, activities and events. We now talk about my personal favourite, which is an effort is made for a healthy physical workspace. And look at the dream here. I know these pictures represent Nirvana and probably, I don't know, working at Google, but I think there are some things that we can pick out of there that would indicate a healthy, physically healthy work environment. You know, look, we have got a way of being able to eat healthy food. We have got, you know, nice light. We have got open spaces. We have got sort of storage lockers, you know, for people to feel like their belongings are safe. All those sort of things there. Communal spaces, you know, that opportunity to sort of socialise in the workplace. That sort of thing is what I'm seeing from these pictures. And they're the sorts of things that you might be able to provide. But that, you know, your space is your space. Your people will tell you what they'd like to see in that space. And the last one here is the evaluation part of the system, and that's having a look to see how we're going. Could we be doing better? And the best way to do that is to think about benchmarking, you know, get your baseline as a benchmark, but also have a look at what other organisations are doing that are a bit like yours. You know, what sort of communities of practice exist to be able to help you to get started. Having some indicators and some metrics and some measures, some tools that can help you to measure this. Have a look, like in SIMS, we've got the Personal Wellbeing Index, which is helping, I suppose, to measure it in some part at the client level. But what sort of, you know, personal wellbeing index would you implement in your workplace? What sorts of things would you like to measure that would tell you a story? They could be things like, you know, surveys, audits, action plans and reports. So if you do a survey, what we like to see is that that survey is turned into an action plan. We care less about the survey than we do about the action to bring about the change. Okay, so we see lots of surveys, but we don't see as many action plans to bring about the change. Okay, and we like to see that what is it? The Deming cycle, PDCA cycle. You know what I'm on about when I talk about that? The PDCA cycle is that really helpful tool for implementing improvements in the workplace. So you'll know it. It's plan, make a plan. D, do it as a trial, as a pilot. Have a go. And then this is the most important part. It's the C or the S. What is it? First person in the chat, or unmute yourself and tell me, what does the C or the S in this model stand for? PDCA or PDSA sometimes. What's that one? It's study or check, right? So you plan it, you go and do it as a pilot, as a trial, and then you study it or you check it. So you look at what the data is telling you about, have you had an impact? So you say, we want to improve X, or we want to do this to have a healthier workplace, and this is what we're going to do to bring that about. And so we're going to have a trial, and we're going to have a look at how that goes. We're going to look at the data and the impact, and then we're going to, A is for act, then we're going to act. We're going to either act to make it permanent, meaning we're going to provide the training, we're going to put it in the calendar, we're going to write the policy procedure, or we're going to act to make a change to get an even better outcome. Round and round we go, and that's called the Deming cycle. And we do look for that in organisations who are committed to continuous quality improvement. They will also be committed to that cycle. And that's what we mean about, you do the survey, that's awesome. But what does the survey tell you need to be doing? That's what we look for more importantly, isn't it, team? Yes. I'm just looking at these lovely comments in the chat here. Schools now having wellness hubs. Universities have wellness hubs too, and I'm pretty sure, I don't know, it's a real shift, isn't it? It's a real shift towards wellness, and we do know the impact of stress on your physical health, not to mention your mental health, all right? So let's see what we can do about this. That's all we have for you today. What do you have for us? What questions do you have for us? Kay, did I get to answer your question? So when we are assessing you, we are looking for evidence against those 5, I'm going to call them elements of that indicator. Policies, leadership, policies, procedures, events, activities, fun stuff, the physical environment, and your evaluation process. Okay. And we are looking for ways that you are controlling infection in your workplace. Oh, what a lovely topic. Comments, exemplars? All right then. I have got lots of resources for you. This month, the resources that I have for you are, you know what? I've got the recording of the 2-hour national forum. Now, if you want to just see me, you'll have to go through to about 56 minutes. But I suggest you watch the whole thing. It's not, I think it's only an hour and a half, actually. I don't think it's 2 hours, but I've got the recording there for you. So you can click on that. You can use that for professional development. The good thing about that is you're hearing directly from the people who own the standards, the Service Excellence team, and you're hearing from all the safe work state authorities about the resources that they have available for you for a healthy workplace. So you've got all the Safe Work, New South Wales Safe Work, you know, all of them there talking about the resources that they have. And the resources that I'm sharing with you, I've got some mentally healthy workplace toolkits. I've got the wellbeing checklist there from Superfriend, which I really like, which is great for supervision actually. That's got some really great tools for supervision. If something comes up at a particular level, you know, of concern around stress or workload, then there's some specific resources in the Superfriend checklist that you can click into. And these two, what have I got over here? Oh yeah, there's a really great New South Wales Government Workplace Pulse Check. And all of our resources as well. On the 16th of December 2021, we did another Provide a Healthy Workplace session, so you can have a look at that recording as well. Isn't that amazing? A great way to get started. Let's go, Mark. Just unmute yourself and go for it.
My question that comes via my DCJ grant manager, and it is around if we've already obtained our ACES accreditation, but there is, you know, the updates coming along, do we have to go back and revisit those amendments to add to the current accreditation, or does that just cycle around to the next one?
The latter.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, you know, you'll
Okay.
be assessed against whatever is the current version when you next have your assessment 3 years' time. Yeah. So plenty of time to get some amazing things implemented.
Bernardo's is 2 years. They had theirs last year.
Look at that eagle-eyed Scully. She's all over it. She knows when you're due. She'll be calling you 6 months before and saying, hey, hey, I'm coming.
Yeah, we can't rest on our laurels for much longer.
Never. That's what they mean by continuous quality improvement. It never stops. Never ever stops.
Never going to let you sit on your laurels.
Yeah, there's no laurels anyway. What are laurels? They sound prickly anyway. Don't sit on them. Any other questions before we go, Mark? Oh, well, if not, I just want to say thank you for spending this hour with us. Please share the recording with anyone in your organisation you think would like to hear more about this. Please use it as a conversation starter, a toolbox talk, whatever you want to use it for. Share it with anybody. And next month, oh, I don't know what the topic will be, but does anybody have an idea about what topic they would like? Yeah, I'm very, very happy. If there's anything in these standards that is stumping you, then please let us know any topics that you would like to unpack. And we shall do that when we come together again on the wire. Everybody wave.
Yeah.
Because it looks so good. All right. See you again. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, my lovely team.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Where's that record button? There we go. Bye-bye.